edition of our One Caribbean. We're here in downtown Nassau, the state funeral of the late Obadiah Hercules Wilchcombe, a former senator, a former minister, a former member of parliament in the Bahamas government, a son of the soil, and of course, our fellow broadcaster. Gone way too soon in many opinions, passing us by now en route to Christchurch Cathedral, and then eventually burial in West End, Grand Bahama. Right now, we have some of the condolences that came from around the world, around the region, when we lost Obie Wilchcombe.
Remember his legacy.
Former colleagues at the Bahamas Tourism Ministry.
Obadiah Wilchcombe was a giant of iron. He was a great Bahamian son who served his country and his family well. I was blessed to have the opportunity to serve with him for 3 years as his permanent secretary. He was a leader in his own right. He believed in team concept. He believed in enhancing those around him. He believed in his staff, and he wanted to elevate as many of his staff as he possibly could. He was a man who was fair. Politics didn't play a role in his administration. He believed that the staff, once they performed, that was all that mattered to him.
I was celebrating my 50th birthday, and I was determining what legacy will I leave at 50. And then I recalled the Ministry of Tourism will also be 50, since the Tourism Act passed in 1964. And then I got this idea. Why not celebrate the Golden Jubilee of the Ministry of Tourism? And at that time, Minister Wilchcombe was campaigning hard because the election would have been held in a few months. And when he came into power, I don't know how he found it because I'd sent it to the Honorable Vincent Vanderpool Wallace, and he said to me, send it to the persons who deal with events. And when he got in the seat very early in the game, he sought me out. And he said to me, did you put this proposal in for the 50th anniversary celebrations? And I said, yes, sir, very timidly, because the last time I had an encounter with him was at a major tourism event we had at Life at Key. And there was a time they, I say, asked the minister anything, and they were joking. And I got up and I really, being the humor, well, being the person I am, I said, nobody knows this, and nobody can say this but me, but you've been to jail. And he burst out laughing, and it was just hilarious. And so I was kind of at ease.
The region also paid homage to the late minister. Current chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization and Minister of Tourism and Ports for the Cayman Islands, Kenneth Bryan, noted that Minister Obadiah Wilchcombe was a true champion for the people of the Bahamas and the wider Caribbean region. President of the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, Nicola Madden Craig, said in addition to his distinguished service to the government and people of his beloved Bahamas, Minister Wilchcombe also worked tirelessly to create enabling environments for private sector participation in the region's most important economic sector, tourism. And last but not least, the former leader of the Progressive Liberal Party, Perry Christie, shared this. On a personal level, Obie was a very dear and valued friend of mine for many years. I always enjoyed his company and looked forward to the time we would spend together, not only discussing matters of state, but also a variety of other subjects including sports and athletics, especially American football and the Miami Dolphins. He was simply a pleasure to be around because he was unfailingly interested in whatever he set his mind to. He was a masterly debater and an incredible articulate spokesman. His elocution in the Halls of Parliament will be surely missed, and his commitment to service will certainly be admired and emulated in the years.
simply nowhere else in the Turks and Caicos Islands that you can find such a wholesome variety of your favorite fresh foods. There is simply nowhere else in the Turks and Caicos Islands that you can find such outstanding service. And there is simply nowhere else in the TCI to answer your every food craving in a chic, comfortable, centrally located store. That's a place you can trust. Number 1 is Graceway IGA. Fresh, service, trust for over 20 years.